Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great end of the year experience. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and go enter my KSR Ceres Giveaway, which will be happening in the next couple of days. But yeah, so today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take the time to go through my quote-unquote best of 2020 list. So this list is going to be kind of interesting. It's not just going to be gear that came out this year. A lot of it will be. But it's just going to be what I consider to be the best of everything that I've tried this year, which has been a whole lot of stuff. In addition to talking about what I think is the best, there's going to be, in some cases, there's going to be tier lists where I just rank what I think is the order of the things I've tried this year in each category. For those of you who are wondering before you ask, S just indicates better than A. Like, it's very, very, very good. If you see S plus, those are things that I consider to be just the best of the best. I think that everybody should try them. Everybody who's interested in what they're supposed to do should definitely try those things. I think that they are, in one way or another, just in a class of their own. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started by looking towards the future, 2021, which I know all of us are very excited for. For gear that I'm most excited or hoping to try in 2021, the winner is the Nioh DSP Quad Cortex. I know that a whole lot of people are excited about this piece of gear. Obviously, I'm included in that. I do have a pre-order in. I'm hoping they've pushed it back a couple times now. I'm hoping that they get it out sooner rather than later. I'm working on Kemper profiles for all my amps that I have here now, and I also want to capture them through the Quad Cortex and then sell these amps so I can get to some of these other things that are listed here. This is kind of sort of in order from my most to least excited about getting it on here for the channel. Cherry Tone amps. I've been really wanting to try these guys. In particular, the Leviathan, but as on its own. And I've been wanting to compare the Gargoyle to my Fortin Meshuggah here. So yeah, both those things are, at least one of those things is very likely to happen next year. The Abasi guitars, Larada stuff. So I've come to very much realize that I am a 7-string player at heart. I feel way more attached to my 7 strings than I do my 8 strings for the most part. And I'm thinking I might go ahead and sell 1 or 2 of my 8-string guitars and just use that to get a bit of a rotation going for guitar stuff. And then yeah, not too much to say about the rest of this, but yeah, these are things I'm very interested in checking out. Oh, well, the Dover DA50, like I said, the one thing that will make me part with my Dover DA20 at this point is to try a Dover DA50 and feel like they're significantly similar enough that I can just keep one or the other. Strings. So, as someone who plays 7 8-string guitars, strings are very important. And this year, I think that the best thing I came across was the string source. The fact that you can custom choose each of your gauges and everything for your strings, very big deal. Yeah, it's really nice. So prior to that, my main sets have been the Elixir light gauge, whatever they're called, the green ones, the green packs of Elixir strings. They're almost always going to be on the guitars that I use the most. Unfortunately, they're not available in an 8-string format, which would be ideal for me. If that was the case, that would be what I use. But because it's not, the string source has very much taken care of that for me for the 8-string stuff. Prior to that, I had been using Cleartone, which was another coated string brand, but I found that the coating on them does not last nearly as long as the ones on the Elixirs. Pickups. So, the best set of pickups I used this year were, in my opinion, the bare knuckle Nailbombs. Instantly, like, for one, I dropped them in this guitar, which was replacing pickups that I did not like. But not only did this guitar go from being my worst sounding guitar, it's suddenly tied for being my best sounding guitar with my Skervesen Shoggie 7. Yeah, being a left-handed guy, these are very hard to get your hands on. And I, to some extent, overpaid for this guitar. You would never find a used Strandberg I pretty much paid a new price for this guitar, and at the time it was kind of a weird feeling because I hated the sound of it, but thank God for these pickups, because like I said, this guitar sounds absolutely amazing now, and I find myself constantly wanting to play it. I can swap between this and my Skervesen and get two totally different vibes, but feel that they're at the same level of quality, which is what I've been wanting for this whole time. In terms of anything else that kind of stands out to me here, I was somewhat disappointed with the silo in that I don't feel like they're very similar to the Warpig at all, personally. But yeah, so I'm going to do a big comparison of bare knuckle pickups in the new year when my Black Hat HD HSA arrives here, that has the bare knuckle Ragnaroks in it. I expect that guitar to be very, very similar in terms of wood choice and everything to my Skervesen. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to comparing all the bare knuckles that I have available to me. I'm pretty sure I'm going to trade out the bare knuckle silos that are in my 8-string after doing that video. Guitar of the year remains my Skervesen Shoggie 7. It's just ridiculous. This guitar is extremely, extremely fun to play. It's inspiring. Like I said, I love the pickups in it. It just sounds great. And yeah, but also in the S tier, I have this Strandberg. Like I said, I'm very glad to have two guitars that I can just jump back and forth between, just basically off what I need and what I feel like doing at the moment, and not feel like I'm experiencing a dip in quality. Prior to this, pretty much every time and any time that I jumped to a guitar that was not this, I felt like there was something that was lost there. Now, when I jump between the Skervesen and my Strandberg, I do just feel like I'm getting something different, and that makes me very happy. Strandberg, so part of why I got into the headless guitars was because they're lighter than non-headless guitars, but in actual factuality, the Strandberg is even lighter than it's significantly lighter than like my Strandberg, for instance. It makes my, not my Strandberg, than my Skervesen. It makes my Skervesen feel heavy, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, this guitar is a huge deal for me. I'm looking forward to getting my Black Hat in that's, like I said, spec'd like my Skervesen is. It's, I feel like my Black Hat 8-string doesn't get quite as much love as I would like to give it because A, I haven't found the pickups that really, really make me love it yet, and B, it's an 8-string, which is fine, but very much so 7 strings is where I'm by far the most comfortable and just enjoy my time. Next, overdrives. Overdrive pedal of the year for me, easily, is the Airis Effects Parallel Overdrive. And that's taken into consideration the Airis Effects Nebula Advanced Overdrive, which is, like I said, I still think it's one of the more unique and innovative products that came out this year, but for whatever reason it didn't take on. And although I'm sad about that, I feel like that probably has something to do with the fact that we got this Parallel Overdrive V2, which to me is, like I said, with the S Plus, it's just ridiculous. The fact you have a foot switchable type mode to me is a huge, huge deal. And it just sounds awesome. But and that's the thing. It's hard for me to put into words why this pedal is so great. Most overdrive pedals sound awesome. The KSR Arrows, extremely great. It's a whole bunch of flexibility in terms of what you can do with your tone. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just personal preference. I don't think it's just personal preference. The Parallel Overdrive has just done some things to my amps and pedals that nothing else has, and I'm very, very, very glad to own it. Probably going to do a giveaway on these, on this, one of these, not this one, this is mine, at some point, because I want more people to experience them. It's really great. KSR Arrows, like I said, is awesome. Same thing for the Time Amplification Direwolf V2. Some of the little additions that were added in this, the new version of Direwolf are really great, and that pedal sounds awesome. In an aid to the Lone Wolf Audio Burning Spirit that I had, it was the Burn Spirit V3, I think it is. V2 or V3. The newest one that has all the knobs and everything on it. Really cool pedal. It just didn't quite jive with me, didn't quite deliver the sound I was looking for, and I felt like that whole Enrage switch, which is, I think it's supposed to add more gain or something, it didn't do as much as I would have liked it to. Still a cool pedal, not personally for me, a keeper for me, but cool. Speaking of Lone Wolf Audio, I have to give their Endless, well, I'm going to give their Endless Blockade as the best overdrive, not overdrive, best gate that I've used this year, and thus ever. It's just really, really cool. It's a 4 cable method gate, so you can gate the front and the loop of your amp, and it has a key input as well. And the coolest thing about it in my eyes is this, which lets you basically you can increase or cut out like the sustain on your notes. You just have a whole bunch of control over how your signal is gated when you're using this pedal. And of course, the gate that I'm still using the most is my high wind amplification phalanx. That I still consider to be an A+ pedal, but there's a newer version of it now that has a couple of switches that will add some similar control to how your gate is reacting on the V2. So I'm looking forward to trying that out at some point in the new year as well. And we'll probably give away my V1 phalanx. Alright, so here we get to the fun stuff. Preamp pedal. So notice that there's no S+ on this because I'm not totally sold. But I think my preamp pedal of the year is the Amptweaker Fat Metal Pro 2. After spending some more time with it, I'm just really enjoying how it sounds and reacts. And I think that the two versions of the Fat Metal Pro and the Tight Metal Pro just really realized where I thought those pedals should be in the first place in terms of a preamp pedal. Because as you'll see on the B of this list, I have the original Tight Metal Pro. I thought that pedal was probably the best sounding distortion pedal ever that I've ever used. But as a preamp pedal, without having that presence control in particular, but without having a presence and resonance control, it just didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. So yeah, my top 3 preamp pedals currently are the Amptweaker Tight Metal and Fat Metal Pro 2 and the KSR series. I think that you can get you can't really go wrong with them, but you gotta take a look at the price you can get them at and the feature sets. Yeah. But pretty much everything on this list, if you can get it for a good price, go for it. I think that they all sound great. Next, modelers. Okay, I have the Kemper Profile amp as my modeler of the year, and it's in the S tier. So, for me, I care about modelers mostly for the amp modeling. And after, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I would have felt this way without the ability to jump back and forth between my amp and the Kemper. But I feel like the accuracy that I can get out of profiling my own amps into the Kemper is just extremely impressive. And because I started with the Dover DA20, which, like I said, is one of my favorite amps of all time, and it captured that very much unique high end of that amp so well, it's impossible for me not to put the Kemper into a tier of its own. It's just really great in terms of its accuracy. And I'm very excited to continue to create with it in the future. Behind that is the Axe-Fx 3, which I think is the best sounding traditional modeler out there. It does, to me, like, it has more options in terms of great sounding things than the Helix does. Although when you get the Helix to sound really good, it does sound really good. Just to my ears, not quite as great as what you can get out of the Axe-Fx 3 if you spend some time tweaking it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing my big modeler comparison to include the Quad Cortex if they ever actually release the dang one thing. It'll happen eventually. I don't want another Cyberpunk 2077 situation with the Quad Cortex. So, take your time, guys. No rush from me. Mini head. So yes, I kind of cheated here because I didn't want to choose between my Dover and a couple of other amps. But I think it's fine because you look at the price points, and yeah, this makes sense to me. So, best mini head of the year, I give it to the Dover DA20, but again, I think that that's kind of just a matter of personal taste between the Sigil and the DA20. I think that they are the best, well, they are for sure the best mini heads that I've ever played. And I'm struggling to imagine that something like the Invective, which I do want to try, I probably will try at some point, will be better than either of these amps. It's possible. I still want to try that, the Engel Fireball and the Iron Ball. That's pretty much it. But then yeah, in the B+ tier, I have the Hughes & Kettner Grandmaster 36, the PRS MT15, and the Rev G20, which I give a B+ to all of them. They're pretty much in my order of preference for them, from best to worst. But the G20 is a great amp. It just doesn't really do exactly what I want it to do personally. I mean, I just don't prefer the feel of it compared to these other things that are here. But it's a great amp. Moving on to full amps. Easily. Now, again, you notice there's another S+ here. The KSR Artemis. It is a ridiculous amp. I'm going to need to do a whole nother video on it, because since the most deep dive I've done on this amp on this channel so far is when I compared it to the KSR Orthos. But since then I've realized that I've missed some pretty significant features on that amp. For instance, on the Mike Fortin designed amps, a lot of them, like the Meshuggah, the Satan series, and all that. One of the things I always thought was cool was the fact that you have this dual gain structure. We have a gain 1 and a gain 2 that tend to do different things, but on the Meshuggah it's pretty much a lower gain in terms of frequency, a lower frequency gain and a higher frequency gain. I was like, man, it'd be super cool if KSR did something like that. They did on the KSR Artemis. So on channels, well, modes 3 and 4 of the KSR Artemis, this is a very difficult thing to explain, but I'm gonna do my best here. On modes 3 and 4 of the KSR Artemis, where the let's say the red mode and the purple mode, you actually do have, it's adding extra gain stages, and you can adjust the gain. You have 2 gain knobs to play with. So you have like an input gain, and then, well, I don't even want to say that. There are 2 gain knobs you can play with on a couple of channels on the Artemis, and I haven't demonstrated that to you all yet. I think I will. And this amp is stupid flexible, and it sounds absolutely amazing. It's 100% a keeper. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to put it on the screen. Whatever this is. Yeah. Part of it is that I gotten one of those instead of the rack mount amp, just so I can like show it off in the camera. But regardless, the Artemis is 100% a keeper for me, and it is by far my favorite amp that I've ever played. And then there's the rest of the list. Again, the Rev Generator 740 is a really, really great amp again. And I want to bring notice of the fact that, once again, their new amp experience in terms of the unboxing it and everything they send you in the box, that has been by far my favorite. That was an S+ tier experience in terms of just unboxing that amp. I'll say that was way better than what I got from anything else I've ever tried. But ultimately, I think that the voicing of Rev amps is just generally not something that will make me want to come back for more. Like, I'm not like super excited to try out the Generator Mark III or anything, although I'm sure it's going to sound great. It's just one of those things where it doesn't really do it for me in terms of the feel that I get when playing it. Although, again, I think that it's one of the best in terms of blending overdrive gain, like with something like the Parallel Overdrive V2. Rev's voices tend to do really well with that. But yeah, cool amp, not the best thing for me. Alright, so here we get into the non-gear related things, but music stuff and nerd culture stuff, which, as y'all know, I care about. So, songs. And again, this for sure is not all stuff that came out this year. But this is the music that I've listened to a lot this year and that have been important to me this year. The most important song for me this year was Animus by Monuments. So Monuments is my favorite band, and they picked up what was randomly one of my favorite singers in Andy Sazek. He did a video where he auditioned for a Sumerian Records band a while back, and I feel like that was one of the most that was the most striking vocal performance I've ever heard. And from that moment, I was like, man, I really wish this dude like joined a metal band I care about. Suddenly, he's in Monuments. It was great, and this song has me extremely, extremely excited for new Monuments. I hope that they're writing an album right now. Outside of that, Permian the Great Dying by The Ocean. This was a song that I happened upon at some point this year, and The Ocean then became one of my favorite bands. It's like a progressive death metal type of thing, and it just sounds really great. There is some singing and everything involved. It's really good. Andromeda and Rennie Carroll, Isolated. Andromeda is an instrumental metal band, but they did a track with Rennie Carroll, who, like I said, is the vocalist for John Brown's solo material, and he just released his own band called Thick. Go check them out. But Isolated is probably my favorite metal chorus of the year. It sounds absolutely just amazing. Like, I found myself humming it and whatnot. The song Impulse Voices by Plenty off the album of the same name was really, really good. To the Ark. So this is one of Drusif Stalin's band, Drusif. And this song was just really great. And then I stumbled across the song Counting Sheep by Glass Cloud. I'd always heard people talk about Glass Cloud, but never had I heard something that made me like want to go back and listen more. This was my intro into this band, and I really liked it, and now I'm a huge Glass Cloud fan. So that was great. Games. My game of the year is Nioh 2, and then in roughly my order of preference for them are the rest of my games of the year. Most of these did come out this year though. Nioh 2 I feel like didn't get enough love by the actual gaming outlets and everything this year. I'm playing Nioh 2 like as of right now. I was most excited about Demon Souls Remake, but come to find out, I had never played the original Demon Souls, and man, it's very much, you can tell that it's an older game. It's not nearly as fun or as good as Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, or that series in my opinion. It just feels dated, although it's one of the most best looking and feeling games that I've played. In terms of it feels good in terms of the minute-to-minute combat, but the direction of the game and like the level design and all that, not very impressive to me. I finished Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 this year as well, which is, I can't point where this is from. And yeah, that was super good. Final Fantasy VII Remake was great. Looking forward to the next one. I wish that they would like patch Final Fantasy 15 somehow and like make its combat and just port in Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat into Final Fantasy 15. That would have made it a much better game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was one of the first games I like completed on the Switch. Ghost of Tsushima was awesome. Cyberpunk 2077 I really enjoyed, but obviously it's not the RPG that most of us was hoping that it was. I beat it and now I feel no desire to go back to play it again, but I am looking forward to when they drop more content for it. Doom Eternal was fun. I already spoke about Demon Souls Remake. Hades was great. Among Us came back at the perfect freaking time. It just hit the spotlight at a great time. 2020, we can't socialize the way that we have been, and it reconnected me with a whole bunch of friends that I used to be very close with, and I would say it helped me get even closer with them now. Just playing in Discord with groups of people and stuff. It's just a super fun game. And finally, anime. My anime of the year was Demon Slayer. I'm very much looking forward to the next season of it. Me and Denise watched it together, and it's just a great combination of story, emotion, and character design. Really great. Attack on Titan, I don't remember if it came out this year, but I know we did watch the latest piece of Attack on Titan this year. Not the season that just came out, but everything leading up to it we watched this year, and that was really great. My Hero Academia, awesome. And The Promised Neverland is just a great, it's dark, but it's a nice, shorter anime to dive into. But yeah, that's my 2020 list. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me throughout 2020. You guys have helped make my 2020 a lot better than it could have been otherwise. And again, I'm looking forward to giving away my KSR series to one of you on January 1st. I do believe I'm going to do that. Videos are kind of slow right now. I'm trying to take this break time to focus on writing. Like I said, I'm releasing an EP hopefully in the early part of 2021, maybe push to the mid 2021, but we'll see. And yeah, it's coming along. I have about 2.5 songs of the 4 that I'm trying to do done. So yeah, look forward to that. But hey, appreciate you guys watching this video. If you're still here, you are awesome. Most people don't watch any YouTube videos to the very end, so I just want to say to you in particular that I really truly appreciate you. You're helping make me continue to want to do this and help me justify it to Denise because the channel is continuing to grow and everything. But if you guys have any feedback or suggestions for me, I'm all ears. But yeah, you guys take care and let's go into 2020 and make it great. Goodbye.